Before starting this module, you shall be aware of the following concepts: absolute cost advantage theory, comparative cost advantage theory, Heckscher-Ohlin theory. After starting this module, we shall be able to know the conceptual framework of international business and MNCs, evaluate host and home country relations, learn about issues in foreign investment, and understand about technology transfers and foreign collaborations.
In this module, we will develop a conceptual framework which will logically organize different ideas to facilitate a basic understanding of multinational corporations. The conceptual framework will basically distinguish between different but related concepts for the purpose in hand. It will also provide a direction for the next round of discussion related to various issues pertaining to MNCs. In simple words, MNCs involves international relocation of production. International relocation of production may be understood with respect to production in the context of a domestic economy. Ordinarily, a firm undertakes a productive economic activity by employing factors like labor and capital, which are sourced from within the economy. The product is also produced and normally consumed within the economy. The organizational structure is unitary because the firm consists only of a single unit, and if at all there are any branches or subsidiaries, they also operate within the limits of national boundary. International relocation of production, therefore, is a process in which firm which belongs to one country called home country goes abroad and invests in that country called host country and employs the factors of production of that country, essentially with the help of investment that is emanating from the domestic firm. It also ordinarily implies that such a firm employs its own technology. So the basis of international production lies in investment and technology. The other factors are ordinarily sourced from the country where the production unit is relocated.
Nowadays, international business is not limited to just export and import. Today, when we talk about international business, we mean multinational enterprises and new international economic order that has evolved. This new international economic order is based on: first, globalization of production; second, globalization of markets; and third, globalization of technology. In this module, we shall discuss the various aspects of this new emerged international economic order. To explain the new emerged international economic order, that is, rapid growth of MNCs, traditional theories such as absolute cost advantage, comparative cost advantage, and Heckscher-Ohlin theory were insufficient. The rapid emergence of the MNCs cannot be explained in the backlight of perfect market assumptions. The assumption of perfect market, such as no transaction costs, no economies of scale, and product homogeneity, need to be dropped out for explaining the rapid growth phenomenon of MNCs. The first attempt to explain international business, that is MNCs, was made by Chandler by explaining the spread of railways in 19th century through transfer of technology, investments, and trade. But father of MNC's theory was Stephen H. Heimer. Other names associated with MNC's theory are C.P. Kindleberger, J.H. Dunning, P.J. Buckley, M. Casson, Caves R.E., etc. Let us now understand what are the essential features of the theory of MNC. There must be potential for growth. When there is potentiality for growth, then growth without restriction is only possible through MNCs. Now, essential feature of MNCs is international relocation of production. For international relocation, there must be transfer of technology and investment across border, that is FDI. As investment across border is necessary for international relocation of production, international business can also be called as theory of foreign direct investment. Foreign direct investment is cogwheel of MNCs. We shall now proceed to explain transfer of technology and foreign direct investments. Let us first discuss the international relocation of production. Ordinarily, a firm undertakes a productive economic activity within domestic economy by employing factor of productions that are sourced from within the economy. But if firm expects more profits, then it has to go beyond its home country. There must be relocation of production facility beyond home country. This is possible through transfer of technology and investments to host country. After relocating its production facility in host countries, MNCs go for productive economic activity by employing factors of inputs that are sourced from the host country itself. Now, host country, due to transfer of technology, have an access to sophisticated technology. There is also factors employment. Host country adopts and adapts new technology. All of this shall lead to increase in productive and allocative efficiencies in host country. Due to increase in productive and allocative efficiencies, there will be economic and social development in the host country.
The two terms FDI and MNCs are interchangeably used, but it is necessary to appreciate the subtle difference between the two. FDI essentially refers to flow of funds, whereas MNCs are understood as more than just flow of funds. The concept of MNCs constitutes flow of funds, new technology, and management. The concept of MNC is more inclusive rather than the concept of FDI. It is distinguishable from FFIs or portfolio investment in the sense that both are foreign financial flows, but they have different purpose. FFIs are routed through stock market with the purpose of making quick speculative gain. In contrast, FDI enters the host economy through strategic agreements, undertakes production activity, and have a stake in the management and control. FFIs relate to the financial sector while FDI relates to the real sector. In the context of international location of productions, there is a need to distinguish between MNC and TNC. An MNC is identified on the basis of location of production beyond the domestic economy. With the emergence and development of stock markets across the globe, ownership of an MNC got dispersed among persons belonging to different nations. Such MNCs are known as TNCs. To sum up, a TNC is identified on the basis of international ownership over and above mere international relocation of production.
Let us now discuss the points of difference between FDI and FPI. FDI is cogwheel for MNCs and thereby a process of relocation of production, whereas FPI is process through which portfolio is managed. FDI implies investment in real sector as against FPI, which implies investment in financial sector and is very often we confuse the concepts of multinational and transnational corporations. There is a need to distinguish between MNC and TNC. MNC is identified on the basis of location of production beyond the domestic economy. However, TNC is identified on this basis of ownership at the international level. With the emergence and development of stock markets across the globe, ownership of any firm may get dispersed among persons belonging to different nations. Benefits of MNCs include inflow of capital which lead to better employment of resources of host country, transfer of technology followed by its adoption and adaptation coupled with employment of resources lead to productive and allocative efficiencies in host country, thus leading to economic development. There is creation of employment since MNCs undertake productive economic activities by employing factor inputs from host country. MNCs undertake productive economic activity, thereby creating products for residents of host country. Now, consumers have wide choices of brand. And there is also positive effect on balance of payment since MNC's products in the host country reduce the imports and MNCs also engage in exports.
Let us talk about the advantages in detail. There is inflow of capital in host country. As there is inflow of capital, level of investment in the host country rises. This would automatically increase the level of capital formation of the country since there would be more demand for investment goods. As MNCs are efficient, so there would be effective utilization of capital, thereby increasing productive efficiency of capital in the host country. Spread of production facilities create uniform development. For example, infrastructure as well as social development. FDI brings with itself technology and managerial skills. Now as MNCs utilizes their technology in host country gain access to such technology. After gaining access to MNC's technology, host country can use technology for its own benefit. There is technology adoption and adaptation throughout the host country. FDI bring with itself lot of jobs in host country. MNCs create direct and indirect employment. MNCs directly employ number of host country citizens. It is also observed that MNCs pays better wages to their employees, so this enhances the standard of living of their employees, thereby leading to indirect employment for other citizens of host country. MNCs products provide the consumer with a variety of choices. Hence, MNCs increases the level of competition in the host country's market, which benefit the consumers. As level of competition rises in the country, productive and allocative efficiency increases, thereby leading to economic growth. When FDI arrives, there would be import substitution since consumers have foreign brands in their vicinity and there is no need to import such brand. Secondly, MNCs would also indulge in exporting of goods and services from the host country. All these things shall strengthen the current account position of the host country.
The costs associated with MNCs in the host country are: MNCs dominate domestic enterprises, hence overshadowing them and their product. MNCs used capital intensive and sophisticated technologies which result in massive labor displacement in host country. MNCs' employees are higher paid employees. The payment of wages and salary at higher rate creates inequality in host country. MNCs come in host country through mergers and acquisitions. These acquisitions give monopoly power to MNCs, thus distorting competitive market structure of the host country and major loss of consumer surplus. Some countries have lenient laws on control of pollution. As a result, firms from other countries relocate themselves in these countries and pollute environment of the host country. Some of the MNCs are large enough so as to influence the legislating body of the host country even on the matter of national importance. MNCs engaged in unduly high transfer pricing policy and repartition of profits. As a result, balance of payment of host country is adversely affected.
It can thus be said that there are both positive and negative effect of FDI in host country. Now host country has to analyze all these factors to make decision about allowing FDI. If positive impacts of FDI outweigh negative impacts of FDI, then it is beneficial for the host country to allow FDI. However, if negative impacts of FDI outweigh positive impact, then FDI should not be allowed. If host country is under pressure by worldly bodies such as IMF, World Bank, WTO, etc., to free trade and investments in their countries, then it can allow FDI, but with certain caveats. Host country should ensure minimum level of workers' safety net, no creation of monopoly power, no undermining of domestic firms and product, no transfer of hazardous substances, no unreasonable transfer pricing so as to cost exchequer of the host country and balance of payment, etc. But all these things depend upon political will. FDI can be allowed in favor of free trade policy, but with certain conditions that shall ensure economic development for all in host country. Most importantly, there should be sufficient awareness among the nationals of the host country about FDI and its impact so they can properly analyze and pressurize their government for formulation of adequate policies in respect of FDI.
Let us now move on to the different types of FDI. It may be in the form of vertical integration or horizontal integration. Firms specialize only at some stages of production process. Vertical integration occurs when firm internalize those stages of production process which at currently is not undertaken by it. It may be backward or forward integration. Backward integration, that is upstream, happens when firm integrate its input supplying units. Forward integration, that is downstream, happens when firm integrates its output selling units. When internalization takes place across border, it is called as internationalization. In contrast, horizontal integration occurs when firm invests at same stage of production process which is currently undertaken. Hence, horizontal integration means expanding horizontally. FDI targets different types of investment. Mainly, there are three types of targets: greenfield investment, brownfield investment, and acquisitions. In greenfield investments, investments are made in developing new production facility from ground zero. Due to greenfield investment, there is flow of capital, transfer of technological and managerial know-how, and generation of employment. In brownfield investments, investments are made in developing production facility on a used location. Acquisition is purchase of the existing company or amalgamation with the existing company in the host country. It is less risky than greenfield investment but generates no immediate employment since acquisition represents change of ownership. Let us now discuss how the transfer of technology takes place through foreign collaborations. MNCs effect international relocation of production with the help of transfer of technology and investments which is made through foreign collaborations. These foreign collaborations can range from weak collaboration to strong collaboration. Most weak form of collaboration is licensing, where licensee is permitted to use intangible property rights of licensor in lieu of royalty. However, licensor has no control on operations of licensee. Another form of weak collaboration is franchising. Here, franchisee is permitted to use standard operating system along with intangible property rights of franchisor on payment of royalty. Franchising is stronger than licensing since franchisor imposes certain standard operating system for franchisee. Strategic alliance is an agreement between two or more firms from different country to pursue an agreed set of goals or to cooperate in any value chain activity. These types of agreements are stronger than licensing and franchising. Joint venture implies establishing a firm that is jointly owned by two or more firms. MNCs have strict controls in joint ventures since they own a significant portion of voting rights. When strict controls are required for technological know-how, then joint venture is appropriate method. Wholly owned subsidiary is the firm in which MNCs hold 100% of voting rights. When technological know-how is source of competitive advantage, then this method should be preferred.
MNCs affect international relocation of production with the help of capital, technology, and management. However, the factor endowment in the host countries favors labor. Therefore, it makes sense for developing countries to use labor intensive techniques of production. The host country on its own is capable of manufacturing only low value added goods with the help of labor intensive technology. If they want to come out of this low level equilibrium trap, foreign investment in the form of FDI or induction of multinational corporation becomes an imperative. This creates a contradictory situation for a developing country to use the technology without which they cannot hope to increase productivity and growth. The host country needs to make a choice of continuing with the old technology and reconciling to a lower growth rate and continuing with a static industrial structure or inviting FDI and adopting new technology which is likely to step up the growth rate. The scenario is biased against the host economy. Firstly, FDI comes as a package, ruling out any negotiation or bargaining with the home country. Secondly, the terms and conditions under which the host country imports the technology along with capital are sometimes very strict, and the payment of royalty and fees for such technology is often very high. Thirdly, developing countries do not have the economic and bargaining power to be able to modify conditions by which they invite MNCs to invest in their country. The idea is that developing economies would expect that they would be able to attract MNCs to ensure that all the years they are not keeping back the technology to themselves, but they begin to share the technology with the developing countries. This is called transfer of technology. It is very often possible that through technical collaboration agreements, the developing countries are able to get such technologies which can be adapted to the domestic conditions. Improving technological capability is one of the solutions through which developing countries may mimic the technologies. It, however, involves strict vigilance on the part of MNCs who cannot permit such mimicking. The point is that developing countries mimic the technologies of the MNCs and make them adaptable to domestic economy. The issues in technology transfer are threefold: relevance of technology, adaptability of the technology, and technological capability.
Let us now summarize what we have learnt in this module. Initially, conceptual framework behind the new face of international business, that is MNCs, is explained. Then, we have discussed the distinction between FDI and FPI. Distinction is also made between multinational corporations and transnational corporations. The main difference between the two is that MNCs are characterized on the basis of location of production beyond host country, whereas TNCs are characterized on the basis of ownership in different countries. While developing policy framework for FDI, host country must take into account the positive and negative impact of MNCs in their economy, since MNCs come at costs. We have also learnt about the forms of FDI. FDI may take the form of vertical integration or horizontal integration. The targets of FDI have also been discussed in this module. FDI targets differently. That is, it can be greenfield or brownfield or acquisition. And finally, we discussed the transfer of technology by MNCs, which can take place through various ways. These ways lie on a continuum of weak to strong. Suitability of ways is dependent upon the degree of control required for technological know-how.
In this module, initially conceptual framework behind the new face of international business, that is MNCs, is explained. MNCs are fundamentally characterized by international relocation of production facility with the help of investments and transfer of technology in host country. Distinction is made between FDI and FFI. A subtle difference is that FDI is made for international relocation of production by taking the management and control of acquired firm. However, in FII, funds are routed through stock markets so as to make quick gain on investment. Distinction is also made between multinational corporations and transnational corporations. The main difference between the two is that MNCs are characterized on the basis of location of production beyond host country, whereas TNCs are characterized on the basis of ownership in different countries. Free flow of funds depends upon the relationship between home and host country. While developing policy framework for FDI, host country must take into account the positive and negative impact of MNCs in their economy. Issues in foreign investment pertain to types of investment to be made. It may take the form of vertical integration or horizontal integration. Vertical integration means integrating vertically, whether backward or forward. Horizontal integration implies expanding horizontally. FDI targets differently. For example, it can be greenfield or brownfield or acquisition. At the end, issues about transfer of technology are discussed. An important feature of MNCs is transfer of technology. MNCs bring sophisticated technologies with them. With this, host country now has an access to sophisticated technology. After having access to new technologies, there is technology adoption and adaptation throughout the host country, which put them on path of economic development and growth.